right, man. Welcome to Axie Chat. Here we go, episode 23.
Dude, you are so hyped. I've never seen that much energy out of you.
Dude, I
Uh,
am I am excited.
can I just say, I've never understood quite so much as today, the need for those weather girls to like have on the freshest, like flyest dressed new thing every time they go on stage. Like I just like had a panic attack. Did I wear the same outfit last time? I think I did. So I completely understand what they're all going through.
Dude, that is hilarious. Yeah, I just try to wear really dark colors, earth tones and blacks and maybe dark grays. So,
As long as we zoom in on your eyes like normal, we have no idea what's going on. It's a different hat, so
that's
you're
right.
doing okay.
That's right. Yeah, usually I wear this hat, but I did wear the beanie last time. But hey, so excited. I'm just so much has been happening, and really what's been happening has to do with the market, which that's the thing that gets me so excited, seeing things happening inside of the Axie market. It just gets excited. So
Dude, honestly, it's the market and the space in general. It doesn't even have to be Axie at this point in time. Everything's heating up, and
yeah,
it's good to see because I think the last couple weeks, a lot of us were thinking that attention's moving out of the space. ETH mania is coming through. Like everybody just wants to be in cash for when the big rocket ship comes,
yep,
and not U.S. dollar cash. They want to be in Ethereum, Bitcoin cash,
Ethereum.
except not Bitcoin Cash, just regular old Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Um, but but anyways, like everything just seems to be selling for crazy prices
yep,
lately. There's a lot of action in all sorts of marketplaces, so it's really cool to see all around. And I
yeah, for
think it says
sure.
a lot of good things about what's to come for us.
Yeah, I think it's real tough right now because I think you're right. People are getting the sense that things are about to happen and they're wanting to hold on to their liquidity, and I'm a little concerned for them if especially in the Axie space, if they're holding on. uh, I don't think it gets better for them if they're waiting. But no, we'll talk more. We'll get into the speculation. We'll get into the discussions, and I'm excited because I feel like with some of the stuff, at least I got prepared. I'm excited for some of the things you're going to talk about. But the things I kind of got prepared bring me back to some of the initial research I was doing, some of the initial thoughts about land that I was having, and it's kind of for me it's coming all the way back around, and seeing some of the floors moving already, and knowing that Ethereum is at all-time highs and close there too, but we're still seeing those floors rise. Man, it's an exciting time. Woo!
Heck yeah, man.
And thanks
Heck
for the
yeah.
sub, Kagi. You're such a stud. So yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the news in the Axie space, man.
All right.
So Ethereum gas just will not let go. So I've decided to just kind of toss where it's at standard on there. And it just, man, it's just a choking death grip on what we're trying to accomplish here.
I mean, at this point, it really doesn't matter. It's been a standstill, just way too high to do anything for the last, month or two.
Yeah.
New people coming in are getting choked out. People who want to breed are getting choked out. Like, it doesn't even matter at this point. We're waiting for Ronin. Everybody knows that Ronin's the next logical step. I mean, I think most people are just over the whole freaking gas thing and, waiting for the next big thing.
Yep. I think so too. And I'm so excited. Everybody's so excited to hear about leaks and stuff. And I mean, I'm just going to be honest right out of the gates. We don't have a ton of leaks, but you and I were talking just before the chat that we have a pretty good guess about something, huh?
Dude, I'm laughing. I'm looking in chat and AK's saying, "Uh-oh, it's the pre-announcement party." You know what? Like, listen,
Whether
we
we
make
know it
the
or
new
not.
dude, we know it. We know it. We make the news. There's enough stuff leading up to this moment. We know that leaks happen after Axie Chat. Like, we know what's coming up next. We're gonna drop it as it's the official news. Who knows if it's actually gonna happen, but like we're just gonna say it's gonna happen. And I'm pretty sure you got a slide for it. So let's
Yeah,
hold
we'll
off
keep
on that.
we'll keep going. Yeah, we'll
We'll
keep going.
drag you guys
So let's
along.
let's hit the non-fungible stuff because it's so interesting. We've had a couple weeks where Axie wasn't a huge feature on these charts, and it
Dude,
didn't.
this makes me feel better. This looks good.
Yes, yep, we're back at it. The wallet activity. We've got Axie Infinity showing as number two in sellers and buyers, and then active addresses. Axie reclaims the top. Uh, by a significant margin, by over 300, well, around 300, I guess, and active addresses. And this is just going to continue on. We kind of called it for a while. I don't know. We can't ever say we've got everything figured out, but really the hype in Ethereum and main chain crypto just kind of pulled people's attention away from the NFTs for a minute, but it's all circling back around. What's
Dude, the hype just comes and goes. It ebbs and flows, and it's flowing right back to Axie right now.
Yeah. And it's going to continue. I think the NFT space in general, but once people like look at what's available, what the offerings are out there in the NFT space, and then they find that Axie Infinity is head and shoulders above the rest of the offerings out there in the NFT space, they'll come. They'll come in droves, and we just got to handle that gas issue, and then we're going to just be back to hockey
Eh,
stick.
100% agree. And the interesting thing is, again, the whole space over the last week has been heating up like crazy.
Yep.
I'm really surprised that we're not seeing new players on this chart just based on what's been going on over the last week. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I would have expected to see some of these other ones. I know we've got a few more charts, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's still possible we'll see some new names. But
Sure.
that was my assumption coming into this is that everything would have been upset this week just based on the volume.
Well, I mean, one thing on this one, we see CryptoKitties reemerging. And again, like
Hmm.
CryptoKitties, to me, my view on this one is CryptoKitties has been around for a while. And so as people are holding on to their crypto that they've just acquired because they're excited and they're going, "Oh, wow, this is the new thing. It's going to go up." And I think they're right. I think they're wise to. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But they're getting involved and they're realizing just holding on to holding on to crypto isn't as fun as finding things that maybe are out there that can be done with it. And so maybe one of the places they go is to one of the originals, and that's CryptoKitties. And so we see more stuff happening even with some of the older stuff. But I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
a
and
thought.
and one of the interesting things about CryptoKitties too is most of their assets are kind of low value. I mean, I'm looking at a
Right.
chart right now, and
Easy to get
over the
into.
last week they only had
Yep.
one sale over like 5 ETH. It was 6 ETH. So I mean, compared to us who had a few Mystic sales, and I mean CryptoPunks who's just been rolling, racking up the sales. I think they had like 30 or something over 5 ETH. Um, like CryptoKitties is really nothing, and they're still top of the charts, which is
Yeah.
really interesting.
And I say great. I say wonderful. The more people involved with CryptoKitties, the more they'll start looking at other projects in the space, and they'll see
Right.
things like Axie and go, "Oh wow, yeah." So CryptoKitties is fun, but I got to get myself into that. So I feel good about
It's
that.
the next logical step. Let's be real.
Yep. Okay, so looking at the USD charts, Axie Infinity pops back onto the USD from sales chart in the lowest spot. Again, CryptoPunks has just been going crazy gangbusters, which
And
you know,
and again, their floor is like 5 ETH right now, and I know. Well, I don't know if you've got a slide about it, but they had a mega whopper sale this last
yep,
week, coming in at I think it was what 680 ETH or something like that. It
right,
was $800,000, I want to say.
crazy.
Just
750, I think
massive,
it was valued at least on some
right?
of the articles I saw.
So massive amounts just from that one thing selling, which obviously buoys them up to the top. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing again. I think Decentraland popped up a little bit. There was a big event this last week in
Yeah,
Decentraland,
yep.
um, with the Beeple party. So, that's interesting to see that one coming back up. But I don't know. Anything else? Any other insights you got from this slide?
I just think again that it's going to drive just excitement about the space in general. I expect because again this was from 118, so we're always lagged behind a little bit. I'm fairly confident this had the big sale on it, but maybe not. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's going to be even bigger in the next week. But I think it was. I think it was just before. I don't know, man. I can't remember. Did that happen just before our last Axie chat? Because this is showing. Um,
No, it happens after, or it happened 2 days ago.
so I mean,
Um,
the excitement about CryptoPunks must have driven toward that sale. Once that happens, what happens after that. I don't know. I mean, it could continue to just go on and on. I have nothing but love for NFTs and the space here. So good for CryptoPunks. Wish I owned one. Didn't ever acquire one. Don't know if they're going to continue to have value without utility. Somebody could create utility, like maybe somebody creates Axie utility for CryptoPunks in an SDK or somewhere in Luna's Landing, or who knows?
and
I
that's the interesting thing about blockchains and NFTs in general.
exactly.
A utility could always come later. But again, this is why I'm so excited right now because yeah, Axie isn't on the top of the charts for the amount sold. Although I do think we've got a lot still going on the Loom network, which might not be captured. And obviously Ronan's not dropped yet, but the fact is the market is hot, and that's
Yeah,
awesome to see. And this isn't even capturing stuff with um, what am I trying to get to? I don't know.
land.
It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. No,
Oh, okay.
just we can move on. I'll
All
get
right,
back
all
to
right.
it.
Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so again, great stuff. Good to see Axie Infinity back on this chart. I expect to see them back in the number one spots. It's just a matter of time. We do have some news that probably pushes Axie further up these charts, but we'll get to that in a minute. Um, and then on the next slide, we have the volume amounts. And again, Axie Infinity on both of these, again, third in sales and then second in transactions. And the
Yep.
So Rare, it must use quite a bit of transactions. That's the football, the European
Football. Yes.
football. And so it must, in order to do what it does, it must have some significant transactions. And I don't know, is it football season over there? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know how that works. I
I
don't know if it's
I
tied
watch
to it.
I watch real American football. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Super Bowl coming up. Crazy. Tom Brady. Wow. Anyway, moving on. Um, let's see. You're a Packers fan though, right?
I am
Oh,
heartbreaking, heartbreaking.
yeah, pretty tough.
Um,
Yeah,
But the interesting thing here too is again, we're waiting on Ronan. If you look at the transactions, going on right now versus several weeks ago, we were up at what 60, 70,000
yeah, yeah,
transactions in a week.
yeah,
So we're a tenth of what was going on before. And again, it's 100% based off of the gas and will be remedied soon in the future.
yeah, yeah. No question. It'll go crazy. Wait till we can do breeding on the Ronin chain or whatever we're calling it on the Ronin side. That is the first week when that's available. Oh my good. That's gonna be incredible. It'll be the whole year's worth of transactions in a couple days. It'll
Right?
be
Everybody making up for lost time.
yeah, it'll be incredible.
The key is, and if Jiho's listening, like you got to work on this now. One of the reasons I think Axie is as popular as it is because we keep hitting the top of all these charts, whether it's non-fungible or whatever. We're always at the top of the charts, and if we move over to Ronin and they're not keyed in that, hey, we're using a side
Yeah,
chain that nobody else is, I mean, it's not going to hurt us, but it's not going to help us either. So we should start making those arrangements and letting those people know that that's coming up.
yeah, and I would hope so, since non fungible is a validator, right, for Ronin. they they better be aware of what's happening with Ronin. But
And
yeah.
that's a great freaking point. Yeah, they are.
So anyway, one thing on this chart I kind of wanted to just bring out too, as we're talking, the NBA stuff that came out, and I don't know, I don't understand the licensing, I don't know how all that happens, but man, that seemed to be a pretty big development, was the NBA stuff. In fact, I think I saw that Jiho's had a couple of NBA NFTs, whatever those are,
Yeah,
LeBron
and
James's.
everybody who dipped their toes in is done well. At least from the crypto space. Really what's going on right now is the last week there was a couple $45,000 sales. I think they got up to $100,000 couple sales. So they're seeing a lot of profit going on, a lot of profit taking, a lot of new people coming into the space that aren't even crypto folk. They're, old school sports collectors, old baseball card type folk, who are latching onto this new collectible thing. And they don't even have any idea what's going on behind the scenes. So it's really cool because they're bringing in new faces who, this is new technology to them.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's gonna, help spread the word and grow the space in general.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but again, I think, the other interesting thing to me is that these things are selling for mega high prices right now, and the people who aren't, paying attention to ETH prices or Bitcoin prices, they're paying attention to US dollar price profits.
Oh yeah.
They're not worried about potentially missing the ETH bull run. They're looking at this thing and saying, man, I know some uh, NBA cards got sold for a couple $1 million. Like there's potential here. So bringing those people in is going to be huge, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Kagi's sense of humor. Man, so awesome. So yeah, I mean it's awesome, it's exciting, and this one for sure. So long as we don't have any hiccup in reporting, this is gonna explode. Axie Infinity is gonna be gigantic in this one real soon, real soon. Okay, well, wow. How about Axis? Holy crap!
Phenomenal.
Yeah, so we see I guess a tepid week for Ethereum in a way. I mean, it's still amazing. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie, it's incredible. But Axis has an incredible week this week. So huge gains, 30% plus gains from where we were last week. It did hit $1 for just like a half a second. I saw in one of the charts. Just so incredible what's happening with Axis right now, and I mean, Gal, you and I were so freaking bullish about it. I mean, I had completely expected that we were going to hit $1 with Axis, and I have a target that's way higher than $1. But
I mean,
let's hear what you have to
realistically,
say. What the 3 month target? Does it stay? Does it
well,
drop? What do you think?
listen, this thing only dropped 3 months ago from now.
Yeah.
It launched back in what, October, I think, at 10, 15 cents when it first hit Binance. So, I mean, this is phenomenal in and of itself. Again, I think people in the last month or so have been watching their ETH balance more than anything else, and they're not jumping into something unless they think that they can gain, ETH value over it. And now we see almost a two times increase here, which I think will bring in some more people 'cause now they're seeing the
Oh
steam, they're
yeah.
seeing the
The
potential.
token.
So my gut says that there's still some room here. I really think that we need to see staking come out. I think we need to start seeing what the treasury means a little bit more before this really hits its own full potential. And again, we need to get money into the treasury, and right now, without breeding, without a lot of sales going on, there's not money going into the treasury. So, what's actually backing Access? Once Ronin comes out and all this stuff kind of, the treadmill starts moving again, once they hit their next land sale, again, our last session, I was talking about how important land is going to be to bolster the treasury. Um, so I think once all those things start happening, that's when Axis is really going to hit its stride.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, in the short term, I think it's still got some room. Medium
Yeah.
term, it's really going to depend on when all this other stuff starts launching.
Dude, we've got Jihos and Coco freaking in the chat. And Jihos wants to
Wow.
hop on, my friend. So let's see what we can do.
All right. He's going to get in here and just shoot down everything I
I
just
know
said.
he's
That's
just gonna
cool.
say you guys are so full of crap.
Dude, I got into a
Coco,
little
man, it's so good to see Coco here.
I got into a little tiff with him the other night in the purchases uh whatever sub Discord, whatever you want to call it, channel. And he was having it out for me. Just I
Jihos or
was
Coco?
No,
Jiho,
Jiho,
okay.
man. We were talking about, whether or not the drop in land prices
Oh yeah,
was
Axis
emotional
related.
or
Yeah, you guys are so funny.
and you know what? I was thinking about it afterwards because I never want to fight with Jiho. The dude's smart. But I think we're saying the same thing with different
You are.
standpoints. Yes, there's a logical reason for all the reason why things are dropping, but I do think that people are being emotional.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
again, they don't want to miss the boat, which is why we had a little bit of a drop. But still,
All right.
strong hands are holding.
Everybody
Strong
be
hands are holding.
patient for just a second. We're going to have to drop this chat and switch on over. So hold on. All righty. Okay, so we're just getting this chat ready. Hold on, everybody. Yeah, and if you have it, Enjoi, go ahead and get us going. Love doing this stuff on the fly. So much fun. Hold on here. Let's see. Here we go. Alrighty. Whoa.
Is Cloud White coming in here too?
No, I just accidentally pulled the one with cloud on it too. Let's see if we can.
What's up?
Is cloud hopping in too?
Going.
What's going on, man? I'm missing Axie Chat right now because I'm working like a slave. I'm a slave to the keyboard these days. Let me pop
Baronar
on.
doesn't know how to work
Hey,
Discord.
Cloud, I accidentally popped you in, but it's so good to hear from you, man. We're gonna pop you out though, because G-House has got stuff he wants to talk about. All right, man.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys in there. Have a good one.
Peace, bro.
See you,
I don't
buddy.
have anything that I want to
Later.
say. I just want to be on Axie Chat.
It's
Okay,
like good morning.
Hold on. I still have to deal with this stuff, guys. Hold on.
Is audio working?
Yeah, audio's working. Go ahead and talk all you want.
Dude, this feels like Good Morning America. Everybody just wants to be a part of it. Everybody wants to have their voice heard. I want to
love
be
it.
the weatherman. I'm Al Roker, if that's okay.
You bet, man. Whatever you need, whatever works.
I did an experiment where I put Axie Chat in the announcements with a here notification, so we can see if you make an all-time high on
Oh
views.
yeah. Oh, we already have
I
82
think we already
viewers.
are.
Yep.
We're doing good.
Wow.
Welcome everybody. Jeez.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Okay, hold on. We'll get.
I try not to look at that number, otherwise I get all nervous. I can't talk right. Start
Here
losing
we
my
go.
breath.
All right. Hey, you guys are on. Go ahead and talk while I sit and fix the little filter thing here.
Gio, man, how's it going? It's been a bit.
Hey, it's good, man. It's good. Good to be here, as always.
Well, we love
obviously a
having you
very
here.
exciting time, very exciting morning, very exciting time for the community, and yeah, we have some stuff up our sleeve too. I know everyone is super impatient for new stuff to do, new updates. So
Is it Ronin and is it coming tomorrow?
yeah, we'll see.
What did he just
So,
say? We'll
I
see.
I want to clarify too, right? It's like, people are really, they are struggling, right? They want Ronin.
Yeah.
And the main capacity that they want Ronin in
It's
is
still going to be a bit.
It's for like breeding, right?
Yeah.
For the Axie migration, things like that. Whereas,
Right.
stage 1 is just about basically switching over the current Loom stuff over to Ronin to make sure, that's kind of also testing, making sure that everything is ready for the Axie migration. So stage 1 is definitely getting really close.
That's awesome, man. Well, yeah, I mean, we noticed that the test net was down. I'll just jump ahead. We haven't been able to access the test net for a while now. I mean, does that tell us something? It kind of felt like that maybe telling us something.
Not to mention an important update that went out was, hey, move your funds off of Loom.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's going to be harder to move off later. So I think that in and of itself tells you something. Gio, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to get that out there if anybody missed that message.
Yeah. That's definitely part of the preparation. And actually, I might have jumped the gun on that actually because we then requested that our engineers make a button for transferring from Loom to Ronin. It seems like that's also going to be a possibility.
Oh, good.
Okay,
That's awesome news,
cool.
man. No, that's fantastic. Okay,
I don't
cool,
mind
cool.
doing it earlier if it's easier for everybody else later.
Yeah.
One question that has come up regarding that, and I don't know if you've got the answer right now, but I've got some, some old dust tokens floating around from earlier seasons, Digix and KNC and some DAI, whatever. It's not a whole lot, but do you know if that'll float over by itself, or do I need to claim the dust? This has come up a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in an ideal universe, you'd be able to just wait to claim your dust on Ronin, so that there's no gas fee. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of people, it's, $1 or $2, so it's not really worth it to claim it right now, but it'd still be nice to carry it over.
Man, 93. G-Hose, you're such a stud. Thanks for bringing everybody over. Yeah, and thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Axie Chat. And one of the cool things is the slide that we have up right now, Axis. I mean, Jiho, it's got to be pretty exciting to see Axis going the way it's going, right? I mean, isn't this awesome?
I think the launch of Axis has gone really well so far. Why? Because we launched it on election day when a lot of people outside of the core community were not really paying attention to Axie.
Yeah.
So the benefit of that was that our true believers, our supporters, the people watching this right now, you were all able to just check when your email came out, right? Or the Discord announcement came out, people were able to get in access at a reasonable price. And so, yeah, it's obviously a lot of it is on the community. A lot of it is good timing. I think, more and more people are starting to understand the potential of NFTs, right? So it's like if people are starting to wake up to the potential of NFTs, right? Then it's like, okay, I want exposure to this new phenomenon. What's going on in this space. And so it's kind of like, we've been here building, right? Like we've been doing, the same thing for years now. And it's just the rest of the world is starting to really understand that something special is happening. So yeah, it's obviously, good to see. I think there's a lot of work to be done, right? It's like right now, Axis, there's no staking, the treasury isn't live, so I think that's also going to be a kind of light bulb aha moment for many people when they start to see that this is truly starting to become the first game that's really owned by its users. And
Right.
It's incredible too. And when those things happen, I mean, again, we're on Axie Chat, so we're going to be speculating. We're going to be thinking about like what effect that is going to have. And so, when staking happens, when some of those things, actual use cases show up, when community treasury goes live, again, it sounds like in the chat we're talking about that right now. Even as we're talking, it's up above 1. It's like 1.08 or something like that. You can only imagine what is going to happen as that takes place, as we get more and more use cases, as we see more play to earn. It only will drive the Axis price up. It's just so exciting to me. And I know we've talked about specifics about community treasury and what the community treasury might hold. But again, I've always wanted to see things in terms of Axis ever since I've gotten heavily involved with Axie Infinity. Like Axis, I've wanted to see that be the primary token that drives pretty much whatever's happening within Axie Infinity. And honestly, for my crypto holdings, to be honest, I mean that's the way I'm that excited about it. That's how I see it. I'm that excited about this experience. And so, I only see this going up. It may be difficult to know that, initially we could buy it at a dime or 15 cents or something from the very, very beginning. And
Right.
now it's at $1. But I still feel like we're just at the beginning.
And I wanted to step back a little bit too, because Jiho said, the core community was able to buy at a reasonable price. And I know you didn't mean anything by that, but realistically, depending on how things launch in the future, this is a very reasonable price too. Not financial advice by any means, but for the new people who maybe missed that initial launch or just getting involved, or want a piece of the ownership of Axie Infinity. Time's still now. And
Yeah.
again, who knows if the price will dip a little bit tomorrow. We had a nice little run up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But things are still looking up. There's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate on the price or anything, but the way that I see it is that the price is a symptom of people starting to really understand what we're doing here, why it's special. And yeah, I think, not to speculate on price, but I think if we execute and this community fulfills its potential, then Axie should be, something that's larger and more interesting than Pokemon, right? Like Pokemon is kind of, our generation is nostalgic. Like we kind of want to get more involved, right? And it's like, this is, I think, our chance to really take part in something special. So
I don't know if people get how special what you just said is, and I that's where I live, and that's what I see as well. I share that vision entirely, and again, when we're talking about the establishment of a new digital nation, I don't take that lightly. I am excited about that, and when we're talking about a new digital nation, I'm talking about valuations of nations, and not financial advice. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? But that's the place I live. That's the reality where I'm headed. So,
Dude, I live in the future when Ninja's streaming with his single Mystic because that's all he can afford, and he's brought Jake in here or Drake in here. Do you remember when all that happened with Fortnite when they were blowing up? I mean, that's what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure. It's like this again. This is nostalgic. It speaks to everybody on a lot of levels. There's a lot of different things that pull at people's heartstrings, and I think it's just going to catch people in that same way.
yeah, I mean, it's
well
going to be
said.
like remember when Jiho sold his agamogenesis. Oh my gosh, I just tripped on the freaking word. Remember when he accidentally sold that for what was it, 60 ETH?
I blame Coco because he had 51% ownership of it, or like 50.1%, and he was like, oh yeah, you should list it. So I blame Coco for that.
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for pointing that out, AK. I did trip over that terribly. I, I, I like having that word up there because agago. God, I can't even freaking try to say it for us, Jiho.
Agamogenesis.
Thank you, whoever. I can't say it unless I see it up there.
You
Old
just call it
man.
an Agamo, right? An
Yeah.
Agamo. Yeah.
So cool. AK, awesome. All right. Well, we still have lots more to talk about, and I'm so glad that you've joined us, Jiho. So your insights or even just like bringing Enjoi and I back down to the planet, it'll be good for us as we go through this stuff. So thanks for hanging out with us, my friend. All right.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, happy to be here, and just keep going through the slides, and I
Yeah,
might
yeah.
chime in.
So the next one always, and this is one where you like to give your disclaimers too. Small love potions. Um, so small love potions is having a resurgence a bit as well. I mean, I feel like I think I've talked about it as it was taking place that it was actually kind of um, getting a little too how do I say this without even talking about financial stuff? It was too cheap. I think it was getting down in the 1 penny range, and I don't understand that because there's still value in Axies specifically, and so when you can use SLP to breed Axies, which generates something that has value, to me it was getting a little bit ridiculous as to how low the price was going.
Well,
Again, yeah, go ahead.
there's value in your time. There's value to create it. Now, the interesting thing, right, is it's part of a game. So I don't know if you quantify it the same way as you would, an hourly wage, but certainly a percentage of that. So yeah, it gets too cheap and it doesn't become worth the time for people to potentially, to grind it out for
Sure.
those people grinding it out. And the interesting thing is when it's not worth it to grind it out, less people potentially play. So there's less supply entering the market, which would make it go up. So there's a lot of different factors at that point, once it starts getting too low, that would force it to rise a little bit.
Sure.
And obviously, we're still waiting on that big catalyst of Ronin being launched, where, breeders aren't, hindered by gas prices.
Right.
So I think a lot of people are still watching that and waiting for that, and potentially buying at a low price, thinking that, things are going to change once Ronin comes out. So a lot of different factors.
Certainly things will
So
change.
I think like the way to look at it, I think the way to look at it, right, is that like we've been training in the hyperbolic chamber. Like there's all this gravity pushing down on us, right? There's all this weight, but like we're getting stronger. We just don't know it yet. But we need to step into or into normal gravity, right, to the real world, into a frictionless environment. Then we're gonna feel like Super Saiyans, right? So that's the way that I see it.
I was just
Actually,
gonna say, is Axie Infinity Goku?
I think we are. I think we are. Like I think we've gone through like a crazy bear market. We've gone through crazy gas fees, so that all these things once we're in a like you know once we're in a in a frictionless environment, I think are gonna we're really gonna start to see something special happen. Actually, I need to leave because I actually realized that I need to check out of my room.
All right,
Um,
man.
but but yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Thanks for having me
Thanks
on.
for hanging out.
Catch you
Hey,
guys later.
Good to
before you
see you,
take
man.
off though, what leaks? No leaks. Yes.
Leaks. Yeah, I would say that yeah, we have phase one is very close. Phase one is very close, and we have something to make it fun that might not be expected. So
Oh,
catch you guys
Sweet.
interesting.
later.
Interesting. I like hearing that.
Heck yeah.
All
All
right.
right, man.
All
You
right.
guys
Thanks
like
a lot.
this is my bull market shirt, by the way.
Yeah. Here we go. I love it. All right, hold
Awesome,
on.
man.
Now we gotta
Thanks, Jiho.
fix things again. Man, it was so good to see him. Let's see here.
I'm waiting for the next slide, but
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
no.
basically, he just confirmed 100%, no questions asked. Ronan's dropping tomorrow. That's all I could take from that.
That's what I got from it too.
Yeah, I
Anybody in
think
the chat wants to say what they got from it, but that's what I heard. I'm going to the bank with that for sure.
I am excited about this little event though, and again, we talk a lot about kind of the I don't even want to say big picture, but we talk about the financials. We talk about how things all works together. But one thing you can say about this team is that they always try and figure out a way to make things fun. They always add little meta games or mini games into the rest of their launches. And that really is what brings the community together. Like the last year, the Christmas breeding tournament or the Christmas breeding event was
Right.
was a huge thing that really sparked a lot of interest in Axie again. And it's stuff like that they kind of use to train new behaviors
Yeah, yeah.
or to incentivize new behaviors. Get people used to a new um, just a new way of life. That's one really good for the game and good for what they're hoping for. And who knows, maybe maybe that fun thing that we don't expect is Project L. Is it
Dude.
Battles V2? Is
Yeah,
it There's
dude.
so many things that we don't have. Yeah, I mean, we lost track of the timelines for both of those. We haven't been
Well,
talking about that forever because Ronan's been
yep.
really taking the spotlight.
Absolutely. And one of the things about that is still like, what if it has something to do with items and crafting? Because if Ronin, when Ronin happens, if it's
That's a
land items,
good
maybe. I
point.
mean, who knows? Okay,
Interesting. There's one other thing that it could be.
what's that?
Anybody been watching GameStop Rocket?
What are you talking about, man?
GameStop rocketing. I don't know. The timing makes a lot of sense. Maybe they bought Axie Infinity? Just kidding. Maybe not.
Huh? Wow. Now I'm gonna have to look up GameStop a little bit, find
Oh
out.
my God. You need to. It's completely unrelated, but it's absurd.
Huh? Alrighty. Cool. Who knows if it's unrelated, man? Who knows? Yeah. Well, oh, that's exciting. Ah, man, that's exciting. All right. So much more to talk about, though. It was so good to have Jiho on, even for just a minute. Great to have some real kind of leaks Leaks on Axie Chat. It's been a minute, but we're glad to have him. Usually it's just Axie Chat then release. Okay. So, whoa. And I'm a little sad about this one, just so you know, because I was out traveling and I tried to pick up some more WoW tokens, and I could not get it to function. My mobile MetaMask was freaking out, and I'm super sad because I would have profited from this one, and I knew it was just a matter of time. Still, though, at 0.73 Ethereum, and the highest wrappable origin at 0.85, I think it is. There's still room here in the WoW token, without a doubt.
That's really interesting. Just the fact that it's tracking ETH price so well.
Yep.
I think that says a whole lot about, Axie's stability. And the question is whether or not that tracks up to the Mystics. And I think it will once we get the attention back. But the fact that wrapped origins are tracking ETH, I think is a big sign.
It is.
Everybody's been thinking that that land and everything's been tracking U.S. dollar, and I don't know. This is really interesting.
I think in the short term, and I know I've said it, that everything seemed to be tracking U.S. dollar, but I did mention that I felt like it was a short-term thing.
100%.
And I do believe that it's a short-term thing, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens. Again, some of these assets, some of these digital assets for Axie are just plainly rare, period. And origins are one of those very clear cases where they are just plain rare. There's only a certain amount of them, period. And yeah, some of them are of the mystic variety, but origins are a rare class, and more rare than CryptoPunks, for example. Even though they're within a larger space than just what CryptoPunks is, which to me actually means they should have higher value. But again, it's all good. We'll figure this out. I think Coco was a genius in the work he did with Al to come up with the WoW token here. I expect this concept to broaden into other rare forms of Axie digital assets, where things will be able to be wrapped and allow people to access liquidity that way. I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to go down. We're going to talk more about Mystics in just a second, though.
Yeah, and as I was saying last week, as it related to land, again, being on the Ethereum network, being in this crypto space, protocols are built around this sort of stuff. So, we're seeing this being built with Niftex. We're seeing, loan platforms taking place. We're seeing, the other Niftex and IFTEX. For sharding, there's a lot of different things that are being built around here to help with liquidity or help, split out value or, whatever. So these things are already being built. Whether or not Axie has its own, dedicated one like WoW for Mystics, I don't know if it'll be necessary if one of these other platforms takes off. But it'll certainly be nice to have.
Absolutely. So getting into some of the marketplace movement, a few double Mystics sold this last week, and it's been cool.
What was it? It was today within like 5 minutes. Am I wrong? Or one was today, one
two
was
of them
yesterday, two today.
Let's see. No, I think it was two back to back. Right? It was our new guy Falcon. Yeah, he bought them within 6 minutes of each other. At least that's what the report was. Yeah, the two double Mystics, and then there was also the other one that was sold, and I should have grabbed the actual information from it, but it was another one. I think it was actually a higher price. I think it was like 25 Ethereum, if I remember right. But yeah, no,
I believe you're right.
It's incredible, and again, these are ultra rare assets, no question that justified by rarity approach. Just interested to see what happens from a utility perspective. Double Mystics, and I've talked with you about this. Double Mystics is a place where I feel like I kind of missed the boat. So congrats to people who can come up with the scratch and the courage and the balls, frankly, to put it on the line and pick up these Double Mystics. I think they're going to be well rewarded.
Yeah, I mean,
For
and this is something again we keep talking about. What else is going on in the space? The the punks, the whatever. Um, you know, double mystics. There's only 213 out there of them.
yep,
You know, single mystics. There's 1,141. Punks. There's you know 10,000 total. Yeah, there's some rare classes and stuff like that, but with the combinations of mystics, double mystics, all of these, um, the six different parts in combination, every single one of
yeah.
these is super rare. It's just how you calculate that or validate that based
Well,
on,
you kind of
what parts
talked
they have.
about from a visual point of view, these things are replicatable, but we already know that the mystic parts have the ability to go to what has been called level 4, rank 4 upgraded parts, and so at some point, the ability to upgrade these to their highest level will be unique. As opposed to other axes that are out there, because the mystic parts will be the only ones that are allowed to hit the highest level of upgrade. So even visually, at some point, we'll end up in a situation where these are, again, completely ultra rare. So cool. I mean, just so awesome that they've thought about it this way. Trung, everybody involved with the team, it's just such an amazing concept, and only going to get better in any of the ways that we feel like. And not only that, like beyond Sky Mavis, as the community takes over, in terms of a decentralized voting system, um, that's going to be driven. So if we want to see things even fixed or tweaked over time, in order to improve rarity, improve valuation, or whatever it is there, that's going to be available to fix any issues that we may see as things continue to develop. So amazing. All right, more you want to say about these mystics, man?
No, I was just thinking about because one of the things a few months ago was all these Charizard cards selling, right?
Yeah.
The rated 10, what is it, Shadowless Charizards from
Yep.
1993, that were getting sold for 100 grand plus. And what I was thinking about that is I looked up how many of those were available, and I think there were like 80 or something like that. And there's still packs, there's unopened packs being opened to this day.
Right.
Not to mention there's Charizards of later generations. There's all this stuff, and they're still being opened today and sent in for grading and all this sort of stuff. So
Right.
I think the cool thing about blockchain is that for a fact that these are never going to be created again. That
Yeah.
they're special and unique, and I don't know. That's where my head was just at.
No, I like it. In fact, I think I've seen Psych Out talk about that a couple times. There are a lot of really neat, rare assets out there, Rolexes and various different things. But to some extent, it not knowing how many of them there actually are, how does that play into true valuation and truly knowing whether or not you have a truly rare asset, right? I mean, I've seen knockoffs of all sorts of different items, that are really hard to tell the difference perceptibly between the things that truly are, what are they, Veblen goods, the things that are actual really rare things, and things that people have tried to knock off. Basically impossible to do that in blockchain unless you're getting scammed and you're not paying attention.
Yeah, and I keep going back to this. There was that comment a while back about Bitcoin. There's only going to be 21 million of them ever, and there's 41 million millionaires in the world, so only half of them could potentially ever own one. And that's if the people who were in early didn't sell. And I keep going back to that statement, like how many people, how much demand could potentially be in existence for stuff like this, for some of these rare assets. And I'm going, Baronar would know nothing about this because he was probably 30 years old on a motorcycle when I was in grade school. But how many kids were walking around with their binders full of Pokemon cards and flashing their status with their holographic Charizards or whatever it may be. Um, I think that as those people are growing up and now they're my age and your age and have a little bit of money, again, the nostalgia of this stuff, the stuff that pulls at your heartstrings, makes you want to kind of relive that. And that's why these things are gaining assets again right now, because people have the money and they want to kind of relive those glory days. They want to put something on their wall. And it's the same thing with this sort of stuff. Once, we've got a lot of players and you can walk these things around, and, every, they're so rare that it's going to be like every, 2,000 Axies, you might see a Mystic. And it's just going to be a special thing. And I don't know. There's just a lot of really cool stuff associated with this stuff that, is going to come back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was all sorts of different stuff. 12-inch vinyl records where it was a big one for me, to be honest. That was a big deal, man. When the new imports came in and hit the record shop. Ah, man, that does probably kind of date me, but yeah, that was cool stuff.
Let's be real. I still buy vinyl.
See, there you go. And
It's
again, I don't think people realize, like, you go to some of those old retro record shops and they're selling extremely rare vinyl records, and they don't even realize it, for $2.99. And these are people that probably should know, but anyway, it just depends on how things go, right? Whether it's valued or not as being something that's important. Okay, so check this screen out. I think I got them all. What an incredible week. So,
oh man,
these are all the single Mystic sales that happened this week. And what
that's
is
awesome.
yeah, man,
That's
it is
crazy.
so awesome. So we did have somebody who decided to unload a substantial. I don't know if it's a substantial portion or not, but quite a few single Mystics, kind of at good prices. There were a whole bunch of these that sold right around 3 Ethereum.
I mean, they were definitely good prices. And here's the thing: is I don't think we'll ever see that again. I really think that that was the bottom of the channel. We're going to see a lot of this moving back up.
Yeah, absolutely. So Coco says he knows like half of these, and I think that most of them though came from sales from Ben, if I understood correctly. So,
Yeah.
again, awesome for Ben, great for the community. People are able to grab some of these great Mystic Axies for wonderful prices, and again, going into the hands of great community members. So just win-wins all the way around. Great to see this going forward. Yeah.
And Ben changed his name halfway through that too, and I'm pretty sure he was the double Mystic that went to Flying Falcon today.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's still putting out deals if you want to if you're looking for something.
Dang, that's amazing. Well, that's so awesome, Ben. So cool. Such great hype for the community. It's just really, really awesome. So, and congrats to everybody who grabbed one of these. Again, I was unfortunately out of the pocket, and I guess that benefited other people because I probably would have snagged a couple of these too. But this is huge, man. Freaking Genesis plots selling like crazy. So last week we talked about that there was one sale for 45. There were 4 Genesis plots that sold here. 3 of them for 60 or more. One of them, and I'm still not quite sure why, but good for Gabby, able to pick up one from Zio for 40. I'm not exactly sure how or why that got listed that way. I guess it was just kind of wanted to make sure it sold. I don't know. I haven't talked to Zio or understood the thought process there, but I'm pretty sure at this point we're kind of on track for 100.
Minimum. You're missing one, right?
Am I the 45 one or what?
We had 45 to. It was from Fuzzy Kingdom.
That was last
Coco
week.
sold. Oh, was it?
Yeah, we talked about that one last week.
All right.
That's the only reason.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Coco. Yeah, so these were the 4, but 5 Genesis plots. Again, remember that is almost 10% of the Genesis plots available. There's 75 of them, so we actually had 5 sales of Genesis. So pretty incredible. I have a real suspicion that that we're probably not going to see these for sale for less than 100, but I don't know. I do own a Genesis, so um, I know that I know my price point, and it doesn't exist anywhere near any of this. So, but
No, I think all the Coco, if you're still listening, cover your ears. I think all the weak hands sold. Coco's got a ton, so I'm not really worried about that.
Coco has
But
multiple
yeah,
gens.
yeah, it's I think like you said, the people who are holding on right now have been holding on for a while. They're not trying to get out. They see the vision. These things are just going up in value, and
Yeah.
honestly, good for Gabby for getting in at 40. That's amazing. But
I think there
to
was a rush. I didn't look at Loom to see what happened, but I bet there were a lot of people trying to pull stuff
oh,
together.
Gabby got in within like I think it was listed, and he had it picked up in 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
he was watching the sales pop. But huge for um, Flying Falcon as well, who now owns 3 total.
I think they're all connected too. It's insane. I think he has a 3-gen estate. Wow.
Yeah,
Impressive.
it looks.
They're
I think
close.
he's missing one. There's one missing in the middle.
Mm.
So maybe we'll see another one. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so cool stuff for the Genesis plots. Again, another ultra rare asset. Only 220 ever of these Genesis plots. So yeah. Hey, and Daviccio, thanks for the sub, man. So we'll talk more about land and stuff in just a minute. This is an interesting project here, the Beeple 20, and I don't know tons about this. I am an Axie enthusiast, and I barely ever venture outside of the Axie space. So, why don't you tell us what's this about?
Yeah. So guys, one of the things that we were talking about before this episode is we're just trying to figure out what our topic for the day was going to be, and a lot of it is just the attention coming into the NFT space. If you guys didn't follow the Beeple sale, and I think this is notable for a few different reasons. It's big money in the space. It's different ways of accessing NFTs. Beeple is an artist that came in a few months back, sold 20, I think 23 total artworks, and one person picked them all up. And basically, what they did is they kind of sharded them all to make it so that it's acceptable or ownable by everybody. And they had a big, kind of public sale the other day, but they also had what they called Metapalooza, which was a party in Decentraland and whatchamacallit, Voxels. What's the name? But anyways, they had this party with a DJ and all this sort of stuff. Again, I think it's really interesting because they picked all of these up for 2.2 million. Again, we're talking about
Wow.
whether or not money's coming into the space.
Oh my
They
gosh.
now they launched like 20% of these tokens for that public sale, and they're holding on to the rest of them. And it was bought up in like, I mean, I think they did 2 sales. The first was done in like 5 seconds, and the second one was over in an hour. Again, my point is there's a lot of attention in the space. There's people who weren't previously crypto specific people who are getting involved with this stuff. And then the next interesting thing for this in particular is in the middle of March, they're opening this up to auctions or bids from buyers. And
Wow.
so the public sale went in for like 2.2 million. The lowest bid that they're accepting is $12 million. So this isn't a shill. This isn't, I'm not trying to pitch you guys on anything because again, this is Axie Chat. I'm just trying to say there's a lot of money in this
Yeah.
space that's coming in. There's new people coming in. If you guys are worried about the valuation, or are curious about where this could potentially go, it's very possible somebody buys up all the freaking double,
Oh
single
yeah.
mystics and shards them like this and makes a collection for people. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff that could happen. I'm just playing with ideas and trying to figure out, what the future holds.
Oh yeah, dude. Because what if structures end up being able to be like an art gallery or something like that, and maybe
Sure.
blueprints for an art gallery within Axie Infinity are limited to one. I mean, or 10 or whatever, but some very very extreme limit in order to even have an art gallery on your plot of land, dude. Sky's the limit. Infinity is impossible. I mean, it's just impossible to know what's going to happen, and
and
anything can happen. So
and we keep talking about potential uses for land, right? And that's something that we saw in crypto voxels and in Decentraland is they actually bought a piece of land and built an art gallery on it and hosted this party in these virtual worlds where you could go through and look at these various pieces of artwork. So one, again, it's a different use case for NFTs than we've seen previously, really. But two, it's a different use case for land too. And the interesting thing is they actually included those land parcels and those buildings inside of this. When they sharded everything, they put it all in one bundle and sharded the land as well. So
wow.
if you guys own it, you own a piece of the galleries as well. But anyways,
Yeah,
I don't
cool.
want to get hung up on this, but I just think it's cool, things going on in the space.
Right, and so here's the slide with respect to that alien CryptoPunk. So 605 Ethereum, but it's kind of funny. It looks like there was some shade being thrown around on Twitter about what people would have paid in order to acquire it. So I don't know. I mean, this was fascinating too, and I guess
Yeah,
this
and
guy's super ultra rare.
yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is I think if I'm correct, there's one, this was one of six or one of nine alien CryptoPunks. So, this is on par with a quadruple mystic. Um, and we've seen quadruple mystics being picked up for 140 ETH, 200 ETH. So again, I it just goes to show how much money's out there. What kind of buyers might be looking for rare assets. um I don't know, I just think it's mad interesting.
Yeah. All right. And then another one, and we've kind of talked about some of these, but the Flamingo DAO, they had acquired some assets here recently too. Until we figured out that it was Falcon, because he used Flamingo at first, right? When he purchased some of those assets, there was some speculation that maybe it was Flamingo DAO.
Yep. He came in with the name the Flamingo and just announced himself as I am the Flamingo after buying two Genesis plots.
Just dropping, 100 and I mean at this point he's dropped almost 150 ETH.
Right, and then Flamingo DAO started making waves the next day with some other purchases. So we were connecting dots, but he cleared it up that he's not associated with them and changed his name. Um, you know, again, we're looking at all the potential um, pathways for the space, and we've seen a few different DAOs popping up that are collecting art and rare assets. We've seen Whale, we've seen Flamingo. Niftex is doing something different, but they're still kind of collecting it within their pools. So there's and then the whole Metapalooza thing with people. We're seeing a lot of this kind of these collectives coming together and purchasing all these assets. Um, so it is important to kind of highlight all this,
Yeah,
these
yeah.
new structures that are being put in place and kind of collecting rare stuff.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of time on any of these things. Any asset category like this, you're going to have interest in it, and people are going to find ways to allow kind of pooled resources in order to have a common benefit for, and also to share risk in the event price moves up or down. So not surprising at all, and sensible, to be honest. So, all right, well, good stuff. Just want to remind everybody that Waxy 3 is coming up here pretty soon, really soon, so the end of this month. Also, just got to remind everybody about the test net, even though things are down, so I don't know for sure what has happened with the bug bounty. So, I at least looked in the test net and tried to find stuff. So, if there's a place where some of the bounty needs to go, I'd be more than happy to collect on some of the bounty. I mean, I did use the test net, so I'm just putting that out there. I'm more than willing to take access if they want to give it to me.
Baronar's just holding his hands out. Gimme.
Yeah, no, I didn't do anything to deserve anything with the bug bounty, but I couldn't tell what happened with the bug bounty. Maybe stuff happened. But it was all kind of in the back rooms, and I was not in the room where it happened. So
No, man, they're taking it down. They're launching everything tomorrow. I was
maybe
actually
even just
looking
an
through.
hour after we're done.
Maybe. I
Maybe
mean,
as soon as we
it's
stop, that's when they push the button.
it's coming tomorrow. I was poking around too, see if there were any code released on GitHub, and there were a couple updates yesterday. So I don't know. Good news, I think.
Whoops! I accidentally moved off that important slide. Hold
Sorry,
on.
we don't need to look at that handsome
There
devil
we
anymore.
go. Got to remind everybody that we've got
You guys
the.
have one. You guys have 1 month. 1 month to breed me a Grinch Axie. That's it.
Alrighty.
And I'm keeping my money.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay. So the marketplace, yeah. So Ethereum continues to do well. It did kind of stay levelish over the past week. It hit 14 basically while we were talking last week, and it kind of went up, it kind of went down, but it all kind of stayed in that 1300 range.
Yep.
It dropped below for just a second, and again, I was out of the pocket, so annoying. But anyway, I'm very bullish on Ethereum too. I think that it's going to continue to do well, but as we're starting to see now, we're starting to see slowly. So we've switched the slide now for those listening to kind of the land sales that we've seen so far. Okay, and so yeah, we start to see the differences here. We're starting to see some of the multipliers creep back up to where they were before. So again, starting to move away from the correlation with USD and more to a correlation with Ethereum.
It's literally just one that's moving up. So Savannah's moving up. The other ones are still going down, but
What?
that's okay.
No,
That's okay.
I've got it backwards from the times we've done before. The top one is today.
Oh,
Yep.
all right. Savannah's going down. The rest are rocketing.
Yeah, it's the
They're
opposite.
moving up.
Yeah, Savannah has relaxed a little bit, and yeah, the rest of them are moving more toward what we've seen in the past. So just a quick reminder, like where we were when Ethereum was around 600, so less than half of what it is right now. You know, Arctics were 2.2-ish as far as a multiplier from chest. So, you know, that's going to be 1.25-ish, one in that range as far as the cheapest floor. Forests were kind of 0.8-ish, more commonly, and mystics were 2.7, 2.6, 2.7. So again, it feels pretty clear that we're heading that direction. And everybody who's listening, like, realize these are the floor prices that I'm showing, okay? So this is just the very, very floor. And in almost every case of what you see here, the floors are thin, thin, thin. So Arctic goes up to 1 after just a couple of purchases. Mystic goes up above 2 after just a few purchases. Forest rockets up significantly after just a few purchases as well. So, yeah, I think it's just important to realize, like, I think we are headed back to more of an Ethereum correlation. And while we're talking about this here, I just want to again emphasize, like, people who are waiting for another direct sale of land from the team, like Q2 and beyond, I mean, you really, really ought to consider and think about where things are going. And I maybe next week we'll put up the quotes from the articles that talked about 10, 15, 17% more. But in every instance, and Psychout was very specific to mention that they're not held to those. Things have changed, and they're going to make decisions based on what makes sense for the community treasury, for the community at large, for the secondary markets, and so forth. So just be aware of that. Like, if you think you're waiting and you're going to somehow score on a Q2 release, think again and really just consider. Maybe that's still a possibility, but I think it's extremely low. You just agree with me on that, so you don't have anything to say, right, Enjoi?
I got nothing to say. I think we're down about 30 plots. That says a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that is
People have
huge.
been buying like crazy over the last week.
Oh, and it's gigantic, and some of the sales are Genesis. So I guess what I have to say about that is people are buying the most expensive plots at pretty high prices. So one of the things that you had put on Twitter, I wanted to remind people of, and I'm going to skip ahead real quick. We'll come back, but I'm going to put that up. And you kind of mentioned this as we were talking before, but again, there's 46.8 million millionaires in the world. There's only going to be 69,000 ownable land plots in Axie Infinity ever. So that's like less than 0.2% of millionaires that could ever even own a piece of Axie land.
Now, when I'm broke and I got a lot of it, what?
Who knows how things are going to go, right? Who knows if it's going to be millionaires that are dying to have Axie Infinity land. But this is going to go through phases. Like there's this initial interest, there's this initial excitement about Axie Infinity. Then it'll go through a phase of utility and play and growth and everything. And then 10 years down the road, it's still going to be awesome. But then you're going to go back into a nostalgia phase where people are re-excited about Axie Infinity. This thing is decades. I'm so excited. I just...
I'm eating ramen noodles, but I'm playing on my Mystic plot.
For right now, just you wait.
That's it.
Yep. And Coco, what Coco just said in the chat is exactly right. We just get a couple of people, a couple of corporations or something that happens here in this space, and all of a sudden it's impossible to purchase land. It's impossible to even acquire it because the price point will be so high in order to just own anything. So it won't take much. With only 69,000 plots, it just doesn't take much.
At Enjoi Crypto, like, follow, retweet. Let's go.
All right.
Just kidding. You see how fast he moved away from that slide? It's like, goddamn.
We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. We just got to keep the flow for a minute here. So, So again, we see it already, and I forgot that I had flipped this chart around. I think I'm going to keep the new stuff at the top though from now on. So, the new prices are up top. Things are moving in the direction that we would expect, and in my view, it's only going to get quicker because once we have an implementation of Ronin, excitement is just going to increase. Because once we have phase 1 tomorrow, or whatever it is, when we have phase 1, then everybody knows phase 2 is on its way because they'll already be working on use case, and all that's going to do is drive all of these values up. So I think we've been saying it for the last couple of weeks that the land prices, the land market seems to be good deals. Probably still is, but
tomorrow.
It won't last. Yep. Okay, so Genesis, like, amazing. We had 4 plots sold in the 40 to 60 Ethereum range. Incredible. And look at the floor now, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, look at the floor now, man.
I don't know why your big ass font on the bottom drew my eyes down to the bottom, and I was like, 40 ETH, that's nothing. Yeah, I mean, this is where it should be. I'm surprised that they're not all at 150 right now at the lowest end.
Yeah,
but,
totally agree.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that it comes down to, just like anything else, we have a few guys that have acquired multiple of these plots, and so when there's a big chunk of dough that's sitting there that they can get, and they still will own Genesis plots, it gets a little bit easier. You see the bottom one is Doge, and he owns the most by far. So I guess it's not surprising. And one of them that sold was Coco's, and Coco owned quite a few as well. Right. And I think that with Coco, it was actually one that he acquired. He kind of picked up at a good price, right? I think it was 30 or something like that. And so he just kind of flipped it. So, all right. So Axie floors. Yeah, he bought it for 35, Coco. I've just verified in chat. So, I mean, that was a great flip for him. It wasn't part of his main holding main holdings plan, so it turned out great for him. So here we are looking at the floors, and I know people have been dooming and glooming about Axie floors, but they're holding pretty good, man. At 0.03 Ethereum, that's still 50% or more higher than when I first got involved and was buying them at the floor below 0.02. So just want to remind people of that. Like, the sky's not falling because these aren't selling for 0.05 ETH each.
I mean, the floor was 0.05 back when ETH was $200. So, yeah, it hasn't held on 100%, but it's still holding on pretty good.
Pretty good.
Realistically, if you're looking at this in US dollars, like that's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible, actually. And again, I know there's a lot of concern about, when Ronin happens, if it's going to depress Axie prices, and it probably will a little bit because people are going to want to breed and they're going to put a whole bunch on the market. But when people can stop paying ridiculous gas fees, when the bulk of their money is going toward the actual asset itself, as opposed to a transaction fee, we're going to see onboarding like crazy, I believe. And again, we got to remember, like, we haven't even seen the team do hardly any marketing for this stuff. So we're in the situation where people are constantly coming into the Discord saying, how do I get involved? What I do? And then they hear how much it costs just because of gas. And then they're like, well, I guess we'll wait to see what happens with Ronin, right?
Right. And hey, another thing that we didn't even mention is Axie Tree launched this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah.
So that's that's big news. I know you don't have a slide on it, but one of the issues with that still is we're still waiting on gas. There's still transactions that have to be processed. So I know myself, I held off on listing any in there, but there are some being used. I mean, realistically, that's going to be a great service. And, it seems like it's not going to be a hell of a problem to move it over to Ronin, to move that contract over. So ideally, that'll be sitting on Ronin. Gas will be nothing. And people will just be able to borrow for the price of, some of their earnings. So, still some big things going on with that. If you haven't checked it out, it's definitely worth looking at, especially during a low gas period. You people who, might not own your own Axies yet and are looking for scholarships, check it out. If you've got a bunch of Axies just sitting on the sidelines, feel free to go list them on a low gas period. It's again, I think most people are listing at about 25% return, or that's what they're asking for if people are playing with their Axies. So a lot of cool stuff coming, and if you can get started with it now, it only gives you a head start.
Yeah, and Spleen Jabber, he just puts here in chat, he wanted to put some on Axie Tree. I'm in the same boat. Like, I have a few that I'd really like to put on Axie Tree. A couple of them that I have identified that I'd love to put on Axie Tree. I think they're pretty good ones, but I have them listed for sale in the main marketplace, and just taking them off is so much gas that I don't really want to do it. Just pulling them off of the market there. And I have others that I could list too, but golly, I mean, it's an expensive transaction. If you think about, again, what it takes in SLP to recoup even just the gas fee. So if it just sits there on Axie Tree and doesn't end up getting used by a renter, I love the concept. I think it's going to turn out great. But gas, golly.
And Brookhawk in chat is asking how much is gas. When I tried to do it, and again, gas fluctuates, but when I tried to do it, I was looking at like $47 for 4 Axies to upload. And I know somebody else was trying to upload 10, and I think it was like $100. So, it definitely scales with how many you're adding. But again, if you can get in at a low gas period, you should be okay.
Yeah, so Rolling Boy asks about why do I think that getting land from chests in the second release Q2 are low, and it's not necessarily that I think that it's low that you could get it. It's just that the price is probably not going to be any better than what we see right now, and it's going to be, there are advantages that are clear in the materials about quarter one land. So quarter one land just has some inherent advantages. It'll be more developed. It'll be more of the hub of activity because it will have been around longer. I guess what I'm saying is comparatively, not necessarily that you won't be able to get land down the road. Although it depends a lot on how that release happens, whether there's a lottery system or whatever happens. I guess what I'm saying is right now is the best time to make sure that you can acquire land and that it's going to be good land that you want. That's my point. It's just, I think that waiting is a big risk. And again, not financial advice. Do your own research. Do whatever the hell you want to do. I guess there's just a really strong use case that buying and acquiring Q1 land and doing it basically now is your best bet to get something with value.
Yeah, and if you haven't listened to the episode last week, we talked about a lot of the potentials with land. And I think a lot of that stuff does lead to next land sale chest prices being higher.
Yeah.
A lot of it depends on what happens with the ETH market. Yep. Probably, but I wouldn't expect the value to be lower in US dollar or ETH than what it is right now, just considering the dip and everything like that.
Yeah, and Y2, again, just be careful with that 17%. PsychOut specifically said, that they're not bound to that at all. So people who are kind of circulating that, just be cautious with that, because that's no longer current information. But beyond that, again, like there's so much importance to the community treasury and having that have value, because that directly ties to access. We talked about this last week, so I don't want to go into it too deep, but just for the sake of holders of Axis tokens, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the land to be anything other than at least market prices. And if they add benefits to it, like if they add a second round of land items or something like that, then I would expect them to maybe be higher than secondary market, but who knows? All right, so we're finally at the feature discussion, but
we've been talking about it the whole time. Real quick, I just had a great idea. And again, Jiho, listen back to this episode. You need to throw this in. So second land sale, right? It's after the land alpha. They're like ready to go full marketing mode. You know what would make sense? Full team of Axies, couple land items, and land for higher price. Like you get everything you need to get started. Let's go. And then it makes sense. The price makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and again, one of the things is that they've talked about, is this going to be based on USD? Is this going to be based on Ethereum? And how are they going to value that sort of stuff? The truth is, PsychOut specifically said, don't count on anything in the past because things have changed too much. And I'm just harping on this one more time. And specifically that they haven't made that decision. So they haven't decided yet what they're going to do. That's going to be a decision that's made in the future. So, okay, so I do want to talk about land. This is a chart I used in the past. I just want people to be thinking about these sorts of things too, because the type of land is important. Where it's at's important. Some of the things that have been talked about, we believe, are still going to be important factors. Just playing Project K made some of these things very, very clear. You could travel faster on the roads. There was no question. Having adjacent lots, even in the unopinionated space that Trung gave us for Project K, there was a huge benefit of having the plots adjacent to each other, because you could easily access your plots. I wanted to put this up again. Spillage, it sounds like, is probably a not thing at this point, but I wanted to put this up again because I feel like it's important for what we're doing on Axie Chat to talk about land and these Axie assets and be real about it. Like, again, this is yet another reason, because Q1 Axie land is already said to have certain advantages over other land. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you had mentioned earlier the possibility for OGs to have estates and stuff and have it built up and more benefits because you're around kind of where the action is, but also they mentioned that there will be special events that are bound to quadrant 1, and they also mentioned special events that are only accessible by Arctic or Mystic, or I would assume Genesis land as well. So a couple different things to note there that you don't even have listed here.
Absolutely. And again, like, the ability for people to get connected plots is only going to get harder. So people
Right.
who are talking about that they want fairness in how Q2 and beyond gets released, realize what that means. And I mean, I tend to probably agree, but what that means is if it's going to be fair, it's going to be fair for everybody, meaning maybe you're limited to only buying 1 or 2 lots. You know, if all you can get is a couple of plots, then you're back to doing what I've been doing for the past several months, and that is trying to work out swaps and trades and figure things out in order to get your stuff connected together. Because when I cleaned up the rest of what was available for the Arctic plots, they were all over the place. And so, you know, I've been on a path of trying to get that fixed as much as I reasonably can. But I see it being only harder from here going forward. And to be honest, that's probably enough. That's probably the main point that I wanted to make. And we've kind of made it throughout the whole episode. But I wanted to just again say, like, if you think you're waiting because things are going to get easier, or you think it's going to get cheaper, I think you're up in the night.
Well, you know, I think, you know, we've been pointing to money coming into the space, but we also kind of alluded to, you know, people not associated with crypto coming into the space. You know, one of the goals here has always been to make an on-ramp for people who aren't, you know, we don't want to make it so that it's only crypto people coming in. You know, we want starter Axies, soulbounds. We want some sort of on-ramp where you don't necessarily need to pay in crypto and your fiat is automatically converted on the backside, so that people don't have to consider, you know, all these different calculations, or, you know, figuring out how to use MetaMask or all this stuff. But what we saw, you know, the last couple of weeks with NBA Top Shot is, again, you know, maybe 25% of the people that was using, you know, that's been using that or has been trading that are crypto people. Everybody else is coming in from, you know, NBA fans.
Right.
Same thing's going to happen here. Is once some of these on ramps are created, once it's a little bit easier, once Ronin's up and the wallet exists, and, you know, all this back end stuff is figured out, people hear about Axie and they can just get started. They don't need to figure out all of the crypto back end. This isn't a crypto game. It's an everybody game, and that's the stuff that's going to make the difference. Like, you know, he's got this list up here of the rarity right now. How many current land is available? 17,000 versus 68,000. Again, in the grand scheme of things, you know, if you look at how many people are playing Pokemon Go at a time, you're probably talking 100,000 plus. You know, some games have 30 million people plus playing at the same time. You know, if we get to that point, I mean, and again, that's such a moonshot. But, you know, if we get to the point where we've got 100,000 players and we've already got 25,000 wallets, you know, this amount of land is going to go quick. And, you know, my tweet was kind of a tongue-in-cheek, you know, there's so many millionaires in the world. Yeah, whatever. The point is there's not enough here to go around. And that's the question right now.
Rarity.
Is, you know, if you're waiting for these secondary land sales to come around, you also don't know how fast we're going to be growing up to that point, because over the last year we saw us go from, you know, 3,000 people to 25,000 people. You know, how is that going to escalate over the next year? That's really the big question mark.
Yeah. Okay, so again, just wanted to throw the rarity slide up, just showing what's there. And again, this was one that I prepared before I knew the actual amounts. This is just kind of estimated, but it's pretty dang close. Like, it's going to be just a little over 69,000 of total plots available, and it gives you an idea of the rarity. And this is just rarity. This isn't also kind of inherent value. And that's important too. So while Forest and Savannah have about the same amount of rarity, the Forest plots are expected to be at least 3 times more valuable than the Savannah plots, at least just in general. So just be aware of all that stuff, guys. Again, I really like what this Twitter that you put up, Enjoi. You know, we can try to explain it away, but the reality is what you've said here is actual based on math. And I mean, it is just the truth there. So, if we're not talking about Axie in terms of positive, optimistic belief then we're doing something wrong here on Axie Chat. And this is ultimately why, because these are assets that are rare. We expect them to have utility, that they're going to return value over time in terms of access, the token itself, but also in terms of other materials and gameplay and just a great grand time, man. I'm just so excited to build my first land items and armor pieces and throwing stars, as we saw, shields, hammers. Yeah, man, so
Dude,
excited.
I think the fact that we've got 50 to 100 people here every week at the same time, a lot of these, it's 1, 2 a.m. for a lot of people. Again, this is what it's going to keep coming down to is the passion in this community just keeps growing, and it's contagious. And, us kind of spreading the word, and people in Discord spreading the word, and, whatever, like this just keeps spreading. And right now we're kind of at a standstill because of this Ronin thing, and people just can't get involved like they could 2 months ago. But once that opens, it's going to be like a floodgate bursting.
I completely agree,
At
man.
least At least that's what it feels like to me. No promises.
I mean, I believe that too. We don't know, but I absolutely believe that. I just the idea of being able to play a game where you can get a return. I think that people were ready to onboard like crazy before, and it was just gas that kind of held things back. And yeah, and it's even hard for scholarship programs, as we call them. You know, the commission share types of arrangements, because even that costs gas to set those things up. So I mean, even Axie Tree, like we've talked about, which is a grand solution, which is a great, elegant solution, still it's hinged on gas. So just got to remember too, like we're talking about assets that are going to generate a huge portion of the Axie, the Axis token. This is the total allocation that's specifically for play to earn. So we're talking about 54 million. Another way to put it is 21%, if I remember, no, 20% of the total allocation goes to play to earn.
Dude, and right now that's over $54 million with the current prices.
That's insane, man. It's actually almost 60 million because I think it's 110 almost. At least somebody said
so they're
109.
giving away $60 million over this year.
Well,
For
no, I mean
people
that's
playing the game.
that's the total amount. But this year I think it's
Oh.
about 19 million of it.
Shoot, guys, sorry.
No, you're
Okay,
good.
so 19 million.
Yeah,
That's
just
still
19
a ton of
million.
money.
Just 19 million. Yeah, year one.
That's the freaking Dota 2 International. Like that's a well-established game with a huge backing. It's the same amount of prize money essentially.
So dude, if
for
you
this.
have the ability through land to get at some of that, you tell me why land prices are going to go down. Nope, I don't believe it. I just don't believe land prices are going to get cheaper. No way. There is no way. So this was kind of our drop, our leak, our little our little thing, but Geo came on. This was just showing everybody that the Ronin testnet is down. And in our opinion, that can only mean one thing. Yeah. It's coming.
Hey, Kagi, what does that mean?
Kagi.
In chat right now. Let's go, Kagi. Every iteration of the world. Ronin.
Yeah, what does it mean,
when?
Kagi?
Why is it taking him so long?
I don't know. When?
Broken?
There you go.
Ronin is tomorrow. Let's go. Confirmed. That's what we needed. Thank you, sir.
As much as we could confirm it. Yeah. So
we needed him to say it so we don't get fired. We're not even. They don't pay us anything.
No, absolutely not. Although
they
that
give
was
us some
awesome.
viewers sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, what an awesome time this has been, man. The thing is that I guess I want to end it on too is, moon ? With respect to Axis. Of course not. This feels awesome and we're over $1 now, but this is not moon. This is just the beginning. This is just the starting point. There's like 9 moons of Lunacia anyway, right? So even if it is a moon, it's just one of the smallish little Lunacia moons that's just
Axis is it's in low orbit. It's got to get to the next moon.
Right. There's
always
8 more
another
moons.
I like it.
We've got 8 more moons to hit. So yeah, until we hit this big old blood moon, which is going to be what? God, what do you think? Is 10 too little now?
No, we don't want blood moon. We want a money moon.
Money moon.
We need a big green one.
Yeah, we got to find the Lunasian moon that's green. But yeah, I mean, I'm so interested to think about what this truly means, long term. Where Axis goes on kind of a stable level in 5 years. Once everything's clicking and the community treasury's full of wonderful things, and we've got great governance and just doing, oh man, pretty cool. Maybe
Yes,
it goes
sir.
to where Ethereum was when I first stepped into this space. Huh. That'd be pretty cool.
What was that?
I
200
think,
bucks?
yeah, 250.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Jesus. Now you got me doing math. Real math, not my garbage math for Twitter.
Again, hey, we're just having fun. We're speculating. We're just trying to figure this stuff out. So, gonna be awesome. God, man, I just feel like buckle up. There is a big wild ride about ready to come, huh?
I mean, I think so. That's why I'm here.
Hell yeah. So I decided that January was Jump on Genesis January.
It changes every week. Dude, it is, and we still got a few days left. I don't know if any more Genesis will sell, but the mystic season that we've been encountering over the last week, again, the space is exploding right now. People all of a sudden have money, or they're rotating it out of other assets. Like, it just seems like everything's on fire, and it still hasn't quite found its way to Axie again.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
gonna be
just a
our
matter.
time in the sun pretty quick, and I'm excited to see what happens then.
Yeah, me too, man. It's going to be so awesome. Oh, what a great time talking about this stuff. I'm excited for next week already, and we're not even finished with this week's Axie Chat. But we're gonna wrap up. Thanks for hanging out with me, Enjoi. It's always such a good time.
For sure, man. All right,
Right on.
guys.
Okay, Axie
Take care,
hard,
everybody.
everybody. Axie hard. Woo!
Have a great day in Lunasia.
There we go. There we go. All right, take care, everybody. See you next
I'll
week.
see you guys.